after certain meetings, he would make threats to you in regards to not telling the police or telling your mother.
Yes, that was correct.
Did that happen because we discussed yesterday that some of the meetings happened in San Diego and some of those happened in Las Vegas.
Yes.
How many, if any, how many happened where he made those threats to you in Las Vegas?
At least 2 to 3.
Yesterday when you were discussing the incident that had happened at the Boulevard Mall where the defendant grabbed you by the hair and slammed your head into the dashboard of the vehicle.
Yes.
When we looked at pictures, there was a chip on your front tooth. Did you get that repaired?
Yes, I did.
And who was it that, you don't have to give the name of the doctor, but did you actually have to go to a dentist?
Yes, I did.
And they were able to repair it so that you no longer had the defect in your tooth?
Yes.
On August 8th, in those early morning hours, when the defendant came into your home, was the front door or were the doors to your home secured? And when I mean secured, I mean locked.
Yes.
And did the defendant still have a key to your residence?
Yes, he did.
You were expecting him, as you testified yesterday, later on in the weekend. Is that correct?
Yes, that was correct.
Showing you what's been marked for purposes of identification as states proposed 250 and 251. Do you recognize these messages?
Yes.
And are these messages between you and the defendant on the hours, during August 7th of 2014?
Yes.
And are these fair and accurate copies of those?
Yes.
All right, this time I move to admit into evidence states proposed 50 and 51.
250?
250 and 251, yes, please.
Counsel, any objection?
I think so. Yes. No.
No objection, they're admitted?
Yes, I've seen them. No, there's no objection.
Thank you.
Permission to publish.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Showing you states 250, and I'm going to zoom in for Ms. McInday. This is a message from you, states, can't wait for you to come tomorrow night. And that was sent on August 7th of 2014 around 10 p.m. So that would be just hours before he actually showed up, correct?
Yes.
So when you sent this message, what time frame are you referring to? What time do you believe him to be coming?
The next night, the night of the 8th.
And then showing you states 251, it's from the defendant to you, August 7th, 2014, about in the afternoon hours of August 7th, babe, what I does when you're at show. Is that him asking what he's going to do while you're at the convention?
Yes.
And that would be the following day in the afternoon of August 8th?
Yes.
Correct. How many, well not how many, but are there several people who have keys to your home, like either family members or friends?
Yes, there are.
Are those individuals allowed to access your home whenever they wish?
No.
Was the defendant allowed to access your home whenever he wished during this time period?
Not during this time period.
When you were awakened in the early morning hours of August 8th, you talked yesterday about the door opening and the lights going on. When the door opened, did it open softly and quietly, or did the door slam open?
It slammed open.
And then right after the door opened, were the lights turned on after that?
Yes.
You had testified yesterday about, a point of time you were in the shower. Did you go into the shower on your own accord?
No, I did not.
Do you remember getting out of the shower on your own accord?
I do not.
During the time period from the moment the defendant got there until the moment you were able to leave, was there ever a point where you felt like you were making your own decisions or you were allowed to move freely?
No, never.
And then lastly, in regards to the conduct before the defendant licked his hand and rubbed your genital, Did the beating, and when I say beating, I'm talking about, the hitting and the kicking that you discussed previously, did all of that lead up right up into that assault when he licked his hand and touched you?
Yes.
Your Honor, the defense has previously had the opportunity to review pictures 101 through 116, and they have no opposition to the admission at this time.
Is that correct?
Those are the hospital photos. Yes, that's correct.
You're admitted?
And permission to publish them.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Ms. McInday, you stated that there was you remember being loaded into the ambulance and someone asking to stop so they can take a quick picture. Do you
Yes.
remember that testimony yesterday?
Yes, I do.
I'm showing you states 101, and I'm going to zoom out for you. And you'll see in the background kind of the machinery. Is this what you're referring to when you remember someone stopping and taking a picture?
Yes.
I'm going to show you states 102. Can you explain to me what's covering you in this picture?
That's the dog's blanket that he threw on me.
Is this the blanket that you were covered in when you went to seek help from your neighbors?
Yes, it is.
Showing you states 103. You discussed yesterday having a complete blowout fracture of which eye did you refer to yesterday?
My left eye.
And that your nose was broken in several places. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
I'm showing you states 105. Let me zoom out for you. You also had quite a bit of damage and injury to your upper lip. Is that what we're seeing? And I apologize, Your Honor, I don't know if I said it. It's states 105.
Go ahead.
Yes, that is correct.
You stated that when you got to the hospital, you remember one of the physicians who was treating you in the trauma unit pushing in back one of your teeth into your mouth. I'm now going to show you states 110. We see one tooth on the top, right below your top lip. Is that the tooth that the doctor was able to push back in?
Yes, it is.
You also stated yesterday that the defendant had taken a knife and cut you several places in the head. I'm showing you states 111. Let me zoom out for you so we can kind of get a context of that. And now I'm going to show you a closer up version, which would be states 112. Is that one of the knife wounds that you received?
I believe so.
Yesterday, you also discussed being kicked in the ribs and the leg. How many fractured ribs did you have?
I believe he said 2.
Okay. And in the leg, I'm showing you states 114. Is this the portion of your leg that was kicked by the defendant?
I don't know if he just kicked me or what all he did to my leg, but that is the damage to my leg.
And what do you mean by that?
I don't remember every second of him kicking or hitting me.
Okay.
So I don't know if just one kick or one hit could have done that to my leg. It was a large portion of my leg.
Do you remember him kicking your leg?
At one point, yes.
And so what you're saying is you're not sure if this was all caused by one kick or if he did other things to your leg.
Yes.
Was this, the injury to your leg, did that make it difficult after you left the hospital or while you were in the hospital to walk?
Yes, it did.
About how long was it difficult for you in regards to walking?
I was limping for probably 2 weeks afterwards.
And Your Honor, showing me, or excuse me, I've also showed 142 through 144 to defense counsel, and they have no opposition to the state's admission of that evidence.
Is that correct?
No,
I
no.
don't.
Oh, that's okay. Is that correct, Mr. Whitman?
Oh, yes, that's correct.
Thank you, they're admitted.
Thank you. I'm showing you, well, actually, before I get there, some weeks after you left the hospital, and when this court case began, did you come to the district attorney's office and meet myself and Mr. Stevens for what's referred to as a pretrial conference.
Yes, I did.
And during that pretrial conference was an investigator for the district attorney's office by the name of Craig Faber also there.
Yes, he was.
And during that pretrial conference, did I take photographs of your condition at that point?
Yes.
I'm going to show you some of those photographs showing you states 142, which are obviously, those are your hands, correct?
Yes, they are.
And these fingernails that we're looking at, were these the same fingernails that you had on during the attack on August 7th?
Yes.
And my photography is a little bit blurry, so forgive me, but were your nails quite ornately done? Did they have jewels and little figurines on them?
Yes.
Were all of those still in place on when you came to my office for a pretrial conference?
Yes, they were all completely intact.
At any point in time during your meeting on August 8th, did you ever strike the defendant or hurt him in any way?
No, I did not.
Did you ever attempt to fight back?
No, I did not.
Why not?
There's no way I could ever physically overpower him, and if I were to fight back, it would be 10 times worse.
How much did the defendant, if you know, weigh at that time?
He would usually walk around, his fighting weight was 175, but he would usually walk around near 200.
Were there times when he was over 200?
I'm not sure.
Showing you states 144, what are we looking at here? Let me zoom out for you.
This is all of my hair cut off.
Obviously, we've already discussed that you spoke to detectives, or a detective, about the incidents that happened on that evening. Is that correct?
Yes.
You have also testified at a preliminary hearing previously. Is that correct?
Yes, I have.
You've testified at an evidentiary hearing previously,
Yes.
and obviously now you're testifying at trial. When was the last time you had contact with Corey Thomas?
It had to have been about 2 years ago.
Have you spoken about the things that we have talked about in court in a public forum?
Yes, I have.
And where were those done at?
I did an interview with HBO. I also did an interview with ESPN, and I have spoken at a couple of colleges and domestic violence events.
Okay. Have you ever received any monetary benefit from any of those speaking engagements?
No, I have not.
Yesterday, you stated that your relationship with the defendant was 15 months long, dating roughly from May of 2013 to August of 2014. Is that correct?
Yes, off and on.
And you also talked about the gravity of the highs and the depth of the lows. Would that be fair?
Yes.
After you got out of the hospital and after you kind of started to heal, did you still have feelings for the defendant
Yes, I did.
for a period afterwards?
Yes.
Do you still now?
No, I do not.
What has changed?
Once they became involved with the domestic violence community, they really helped me understand what was happening to me was not a healthy relationship. And they really just helped me understand the gravity of the situation and how I could turn my situation into something so helpful for other women. That if I decided to stay strong and I decided to testify and really stand up for this, that it could help so many other women.
Thank you so much, Ms. McIntyre. Your Honor, that concludes my direct examination. I'll pass the witness.
Okay. Cross-examination?
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Feel free to grab some water if you like.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm going to start by asking you some questions about John's sort of mental state. Did you often forget where he parked his car?
No,
Did you have to put in his phone where he parked his car?
I've never heard of him doing that.
You never saw him put like in his notes that where he parked?
No,
Would he commonly forget other things?
not that I can recall.
Did you have conversations with him where you couldn't remember things shortly after?
I'm sure that happened on occasion.
Did he suffer from depression,
Yes, he did.
irritability?
Yes, I would say so.
He had sudden emotional outbursts?
I don't know if they were extremely sudden. There was something leading up to it.
And those random texts that you've been shown from unknown periods not directed at you, are you aware if there was something leading up to it, or he just woke up, as he said in some of the texts, in a bad mood and started tweeting about killing and killing himself?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
In terms of sudden emotional outbursts, his Twitter tirades, he stated on them he sometimes just woke up in a bad mood and tweeted about killing and killing himself, correct?
Sometimes, yes.
Okay. And you wouldn't consider those sudden emotional outbursts?
I'm not sure if he would wake up to a text message and that would lead to it, or just something that he would see online and then he would tweet about that. There was usually something leading up to it, but I'm sure sometimes he did just wake up in a bad mood, as I do also.
And did he often have inattention, not pay attention to things?
Yes.
Okay, I noticed you covered your neck tattoos yesterday, but didn't today. Is there a reason for that?
Yesterday I was wearing a short sleeve shirt, but it was not warm enough to take my jacket off. But it doesn't, I don't feel that I was trying to cover anything.
Okay. And you have a tattoo of a heart by your eye,
Yes, I do.
and that seems to be covered as far as I can tell.
Sometimes when I,
Coming up.
Facial tattoo.
it's still visible, but when I wear makeup, it does cover it a little bit.
Did anyone from the prosecution team or law enforcement tell you to wear makeup and cover that up?
No, they've never coached me in any way.
And you wear makeup for photo shoots and appearances, correct?
Yes, I do.
And your heart tattoo is visible at those times, correct?
About as visible as it is now.
Were you told by anyone how to dress for court today or yesterday?
No, I was not.
Did you buy that suit yesterday specifically for testimony?
I actually wore those pants about 2 months ago at an appearance, so I did not buy it specifically for this appearance.
You bought it for the last appearance, the one on January 5th?
No, not for court.
Okay, forgive me for asking this, but I have to. I've seen pictures on your Instagram, and it appears that you look a bit different in the face now than you did about 2 weeks ago. Have you had any cosmetic treatments recently?
Yes, I did get lip filler on this side of my lips to even out the scar tissue on this side.
Okay, and what about your cheeks?
No.
You testified yesterday that you've had 5 surgeries as a result to your damage to your face from August 8th, is that right?
I had my nose done to
And
fix
4
the brakes,
teeth?
and I've had at least 3 to 4 oral surgeries.
Did you have any additional work done to your nose since then?
No, I did not.
Have you had any other cosmetic surgeries since the time of the incident?
Other than lip injections and having my nose fixed, I have not.
What's your definition of cosmetic surgery? Just facial?
No, it is not. I would, I haven't had my breast redone in quite a few years, but that's the only other cosmetic surgery that I have.
You didn't have any other implants in recent years?
Objection as to relevance?
Sustained.
And the 5 surgeries you had, who paid for those surgeries?
Well, the doctor that did my nose donated those surgeries, donated that surgery, and then the oral surgeon that did my teeth, he also donated those surgeries.
One second. I'm sorry, there are a lot of exhibits and we're going to get into some of them.
Okay.
So Ms. Booth got into you a little bit with this, but I want to just go over it. How many times have you testified in this case?
I did the preliminary, and then I did the one in January, and then this one.
So 3 times?
Yes.
Have you provided any written or recorded materials to the district attorney's office?
Only what, I don't understand exactly what I could give them.
Well, for example, Mr. Thomas typed something up, a little Word document, and gave it to the district attorney. Did you do anything like that?
She has my voluntary statement and that was given at the hospital and things like that.
Okay, but all you did was provide your statement to the police, and the police provided that to her, correct?
Yes.
Okay, was there anything you directly provided?
I had the post that I put on Twitter, my statement on Twitter that I had given her, but other than that, no.
Okay, where was that statement originally posted, the one from Twitter?
On Twitter.
The very long statement?
Yes.
Okay, true. And that appears to be like screenshots of something bigger. Can you explain how can you explain the nature of that?
Oh, it was from the note document in my Android tablet.
Okay, so you took screenshots and posted the screenshots?
Yes.
And I believe you just testified you met with the district attorney 3 times in her office?
Yes.
And when was the first time?
It was when she took those pictures of my nails and my hair, things like that.
And that would have been about 2 or 3 weeks after after August 8th.
I'm not sure exactly as to timing.
Do you have a sense of whether it was more or less than a month?
I would say under a month, yes.
And at that point, you discussed several other matters that you hadn't discussed with either the same nurse or the police that led to a multiplicity of charges. Is that correct?
Yes.
And the second time you met, what was that in reference to?
I believe the second time I came to her office was for the hearing from last time in January.
You didn't go before the preliminary hearing?
Oh, yes, I went in the preliminary hearing.
Does that bring your total times to 4?
Yes, I believe it would.
So, did you review anything for the preliminary hearing?
She,
She being Ms. Bluth?
yes, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
She just basically went over what's going to happen in the courtroom, what kind of questions she's going to ask, and basically just went over how the day would go.
Okay. Did you, were you asked specific questions to refresh, in your meeting with Ms. Bluth, specific questions to refresh your recollection about the events of, I guess, August 8th and the other charge counts?
I'm not sure exactly what questions she asked me now.
Did she explain to you how direct examination was going to go? Like what events you would be asked about?
I'm not sure if I would be asked about specific events. I know she told me that she was going to ask me questions and then the other side was going to ask me questions and basically how long it would take, things like that.
And at the preliminary hearing, Mr. Sua did the examination?
Yes, he did.
And you were under oath?
Yes, I was.
And you gave true, complete, and accurate answers?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so the third meeting was before the, you know the hearing now 2 months ago to be on January 5th, or do you want me to just call it? I believe you referred to it as the other hearing. What?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what it's called.
It's, you don't have to use any names. Can we call it the January 5th hearing?
Yes,
And that sounds like the right date?
I believe so.
Let's call it that. So you, if it's okay with you.
Yes.
Okay. Let's go into that. Did you review any documents before testifying at that hearing?
I don't think she gave me any documents.
What did you discuss in reference to how that hearing would go?
She told me that it was just going to be about what's going to be allowed in front of the jury. That's what the hearing was about, that you guys were going to ask me questions.
Counsel, can you approach, please?
Sure.
counsel.
I want to clarify that last question. Without telling me what the January 5th hearing was about, that was about the judge to make some determinations about evidence?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Okay, with respect to the 4 meetings with the district attorney, are you aware of whether they were audio recorded?
I'm not sure if they were or not.
With respect to the first 3 meetings with the district attorney, other than the still photographs that were taken, are you aware of any video recording? Just the first
The
3?
first 3?
Just the first 3.
No.
And the 4th?
Yes.
Approximately how long did meeting 1 last?
I would have no idea.
That was the one about 2.5 years ago?
Yes.
And then meeting 2 was, the prelim was in November of 2014, that sound right?
I believe so.
Okay. And do you recall then how long your meeting with the district attorney lasted at that point?
No, I have no idea.
And what about the one 2 months ago?
I'm not sure.
More than 20 minutes?
I would say more than 20 minutes, yes.
More than 45 minutes?
I'd say probably 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay. And then prior to this testimony, how long?
Probably about an hour also.
Approximately how many emails have there been, not without telling me anything about the content, approximately how many emails have there been between you and the district attorneys or the district attorney's office?
I would say less than 20.
What about how many texts? Did you ever get texts?
Every once in a while we'll exchange text messages. It's a lot easier for me to do texting than anything else, but not very many.
And those texts would have been between you and Ms. Bluth?
Yes.
Any with anybody else?
Also, Craig Faber.
And I'm sorry, you said just a few?
Yes, just a few.
More than 5?
More than 5, yes.
More than 10?
Probably not too much more, not too many more than 10.
And then phone calls. How many phone calls have there been between you and the district attorney's office?
I would say fewer phone calls than emails.
And I think you said 20 emails?
Yes.
All right. And what about law enforcement? Have you spoken to Detective Tomino or Detective Lafreniere since you gave your voluntary statement?
I'm not sure. Definitely not anytime in the past 2 years.
All right. Just to sort of clarify the record, are you aware what a voluntary statement is? That's sort of a legal or a police term. What does that mean to you?
It was just he was just asking me questions while I was in the hospital.
Basically, you just talked to him.
Yes.
Voluntarily, I suppose.
Yes.
And have you ever spoken to the defense team about this case?
Spoken to you guys about this case?
Yeah. Well, I'm brand new. Yeah. Have you spoken to me?
No, I have not.
Okay. Have you spoken to Mr. Sua about this case?
No, I have not.
Have you spoken to a defense investigator about this case?
I don't believe so.
Well, are you sure or you don't believe so?
I wouldn't know unless they had.
They would have identified themselves.
Yeah, I don't believe I've ever spoken to anyone.
Okay. All right. How did you meet Mr. Copen? Is it weird for me to refer to him as Mr. Copenhaver?
No.
Okay. Would you prefer I call him John?
I've always called him John. You can call him whatever you prefer.
Well, I want to call him what's comfortable to you.
I've always referred to him as John.
Okay. How did you meet John?
We met on a photo shoot for Hustler magazine.
Okay. And you took some pictures with him?
Yes, we did.
There was a picture, I'm going to get back to this, but just to mention it and move on. There was a picture in that shoot of, you saw yesterday, of sort of him, and I'm making a choking motion to my own neck, of him choking you and biting your ear and your hands on top of his arm.
Yes, I'm holding on to his arm.
And that was one of the first pictures you ever took with him?
Yes, it is.
And you began dating him soon after that, within weeks?
Yes.
Now, I'm going to get back to that because there are a lot of exhibits in this case and long hours and such, so pardon the chaos. You don't need to be exact on this, but do you recall approximately how many Twitter followers you had prior to August 8th, 2014?
I don't know.
Did you receive a large spike in Twitter followers after that date?
I'm not sure, honestly.
You don't take stock of your Twitter followers?
Not too much.
You use Twitter regularly, right?
I haven't been on Twitter in quite a while. I'm more on Instagram and Snapchat now.
Okay, I'll get there. If I can approach the witness, please.
And counsel, why are you approaching?
I want to show her a document that may refresh her recollection.
Go ahead. And what are you showing her?
It's a screenshot of her Twitter account taken at 22:06 yesterday, of the front of the Twitter account.
Okay.
And I apologize, it's marked as 573. This appeared to be a true and accurate depiction of your Twitter account as it stood, I guess, since your last tweet on February 6, 2017.
Yes, that was a retweet.
I understand. I understand that. I'm more interested in
Is
this.
it a correct screenshot of your?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And how many Twitter followers do you have now?
755.7 thousand.
755,700?
Yes.
All right. Did you have that amount of Twitter followers on August 8th, 2014?
No, I did not.
Did you have over 100,000 followers on August 8th, 2014?
Yes, I'm sure I did.
Over 200?
I would say at least 500,000. I'm not sure of my exact numbers.
So it spiked by about 250,000?
Well, it's been about 2.5 years, and they grow. My numbers always grow a little bit each month, if not each week.
If not each day.
Yes.
Okay. All right, I would offer then 573 into evidence.
Is there any objection?
There is not, Your Honor, thank you.
It's admitted?
Okay, and then just to publish the top of it real quick, when I asked you about the followers, that would be this, the 755,000.7, meaning 700,000 followers.
Yes.
As to Instagram, it's true, isn't it, that you had just under 1 million Instagram followers on August 8th, 2014?
I'm not sure of my exact numbers.
Your best estimate?
Honestly, I would have no idea.
Okay. Let's just and Your Honor, may I approach with the Instagram
What
screenshot?
exhibit number?
574.
And I'll stipulate to its admission. He doesn't need to approach. He can just publish it if he'd like.
Okay, that's
So 574 is admitted?
all right. And how many Instagram followers do you have now?
2.7 million.
Is that, how many followers is that in relation to how many followers you had on August 7th, 2014?
Well, as I've said, I don't know exactly how many followers I had back then, but I'm sure it's a great amount more.
At least 1.5 million more.
If you say so, yes.
And this is, I just want to zoom in a little. If, when you click on this, it says it was posted on, this one, it says it was posted on February 22nd, is that a true and accurate depiction of you on February 22nd
Of what year?
of this year?
I'm not sure if I posted that the same day that I took it.
Would it have been within a couple days?
Within a few days, yes.
And just for the record, we're talking about the picture in the top right.
Picture in the top right. It's in a white shirt with, is that salad?
It's a prep meal.
A prep meal. Okay. After your injury, after the events of the early morning hours of August 8th, 2014, there was something set up called the Christy Mack Fund.
On what site?
Well, let's start with GoFundMe.
Okay.
Yes?
Yes.
Were there other sites that raised money in relation to your injuries after that, at that time?
I know of at least one other one that did, yes.
And what was that?
I don't remember exactly what it was.
Okay. Approximately how much money did the let's say the GoFundMe, approximately how much money did that raise?
It was set for $100,000.
But oftentimes they go over that. There's not a limit.
That's correct.
So did it go over $100,000?
It went just over $100,000.
And then the other one, how much did that raise?
I'm not sure.
You give was it more than $5,000?
I don't believe so.
And have you created any products in relation to the incidents of August 8th and/or your victimhood as a domestic violence victim?
I have a line of emojis. I believe this is what you're referring to.
It is.
I have a line of emojis, and there are a couple of images of me as an emoji with a bruise on my face. And it is, would you like me to explain it further?
Just give me 1 second. Do you want me to approach you?
No, I'm stipulating.
Okay. Then may I publish?
First, tell me what exhibit it is,
Sorry. 570.
and there's no objection.
There's not, Your Honor.
It's admitted and you can publish.
Okay. Are these some of the emojis that you have on your app? It's an app, right?
It is an app, yes.
And are these some of the emojis?
Yes, they are.
Okay, and this depicts you with a black eye and a bruised cheek?
Yes.
And I'm looking at 571.
Stipulated.
Yeah,
571
571
is
stipulated.
admitted.
Matt,
Yes.
thank you. And are these some of the emojis on your app?
Yes, these are more emojis on my app.
And that's you sort of making it rain with cash and then flashing the cash?
Yes, these are meant to be just like the Chi-emojis, the Black China emojis.
Like what?
Black China emojis. She has her own line of emojis also. And
Black China is a person?
yes, she has. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I'm old. Okay, go ahead.
And, I'm sorry,
No, this one, state stipulated.
572,
Okay, so 572 is admitted by stipulation?
MA,
Yes?
thank you.
Any of them I admit you can publish.
Thank you. All right, and are these essentially the same thing as 2 exhibits ago, just with one of your wigs?
Yes, all of the emojis are copied several times with the same images with just different hairstyles.
And then, I'm not gonna put these up, but there are some sort of sexual posing emojis in that pack.
Yes, there are.
And some of them have, you kind of with like there's one with like a whip or something like that.
I'm not sure exactly. I didn't create the app.
Are you aware of how much the app sells for?
Last time I checked, it was $1.99. $1.99.
And some of that goes to domestic violence victims?
Yes, it does.
How much?
I've been donating 25%.
So that would be around 50 cents?
Yes.
And then,
It hasn't been a wildly successful app, but I'm doing what I can.
all right, are you aware it doesn't work?
Judge, objection relevant.
May I approach?
Yes, come on up.
My last question is, were you aware that the app doesn't work? It doesn't copy and paste into text?
I just received a Mac emoji from my friend yesterday.
Have you read the reviews on?
Objection
Oh,
relevant.
okay, I'm gonna move on.
Okay.
Actually, I want to ask one innocuous question, which is, was that via Android or iPhone?
It was iPhone to Android.
iPhone to Android?
Yes.
And one of the, or perhaps the central point of the app is that if you're in trouble, you're supposed to text a purple pit bull.
Yes, that's one of the usages.
You said you stopped doing pornography, pornography shoots in 2013?
Yes.
Do you remember what month?
I don't remember exactly what month.
Did you stop doing it in, well, let me back up. Was there an AIDS scare in the industry in sort of late or 2013 that shut down the whole industry?
Yes, there was.
All right, and did you never go back, and was that in September of 2013?
I'm not sure exactly the date.
Sound about right?
Possibly.
All right, did you just never go back to working after that?
I'm not sure if I worked after that or not.
Okay, you talked about that Twitter statement just a moment ago that you did on your phone, and the screenshots were posted to Twitter?
Yes.
All right, when was that written?
I believe it was the day after I got out of the hospital.
You were in the hospital
The
for
first time.
4 days?
3 or 4.
3 or 4. And when you broke up in May, John moved out?
Yes, he did.
I apologize, I didn't hear that last question, Mr.
I just asked if when they broke up in May, John moved out.
Okay, thank you.
In May of what year?
Oh, that would be 2014, yes?
Correct.
And in your voluntary statement, you said when he arrived back on August 8th, he found yourself in one other. Do you usually refer to Corey Thomas as one other?
He was the other person with me, so he would be one other.
And you said you fractured 2 ribs.
That is what the doctor told me, yes.
Are you aware that's not in your medical records?
I'm not aware.
And you stated you had a severely ruptured liver.
Yes.
Are you aware that they said it was a minor ruptured liver?
He told me severely ruptured.
You didn't receive surgery?
No, I did not.
Did you do a follow-up on that?
I did come back to the hospital maybe 2 to 3 days later.
So 2 to 3 days later, meaning maybe a week and a day after the incident? If you were in 3 or 4 days and then 2 to 3 days later?
Yes, about a week later.
And did they do any treatment on your liver at that time?
I'm not sure what they did at that time. I don't remember.
Do you remember some sort of scan or an ultrasound in that area?
I remember, I'm not sure if I did 1 or 2 scans, but I did scan.
On that day, the second day we're talking about?
I don't remember if I scanned that day.
Well, clearly they scanned you at the hospital during the first day of your 3-day stay, correct?
Yes.
And you don't recall if there was a second scan between 5 and 8 days later?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
And yesterday you testified about abuse occurring about once a month, is that correct?
That's correct.
Going to the night in question, but when I say the night in question, I mean the early hours of August 8th. When John came in, you immediately put your first reaction was to put the pit bulls outside?
Yes.
And this would be outside in the backyard?
Yes, it is.
And that's the same backyard that you jumped over the fence?
Yes.
And you said John had hit one of the pit bulls before?
Yes, he has.
And that was the smaller one, Patrick Swayze?
Yes, it is.
Good.
Thank you.
Sure. And wasn't that the day that Patrick Swayze bit the neighbor, Ms. Geraldo?
No, that was a different day. And I don't believe it was Swayze that bit her. I believe it was Cleo that bit her.
How much does Swayze weigh?
Swayze's between like 50 and 55 pounds.
And you call the other one Petra? Or Cleo?
Oh, Cleo.
Cleo, okay. And how much does Cleo weigh?
Cleo's heavier. Cleo's like 70, 75.
Bless you. Were you afraid at all when John and Corey started fighting and then wrestling that the dogs would bite Corey?
No, not at all.
When you're playing and physically close, the dogs don't come and try to get involved and, kind of try to get in on the fun?
They are playful, yes, but I put them outside for their own safety.
You didn't feel that perhaps the dogs could protect you?
No, I don't feel that those dogs would be able to protect me in any way.
Were you afraid at all that the dogs would bite John?
No.
Fair to say John loves animals.
Yes, I would say so.
And did you guys talk about moving to the country and breeding snakes?
He did include that in an email, but it's always been my dream to move out into the middle of the country, drop all social media, and just be alone.
I think you described yourself yesterday as, was it a little bit of social anxiety disorder, didn't like to be in public, kind of a homebody?
Yes.
One second, please.
There's a post-it on the back of that, just for your information.
Sorry, Your Honor. We tried our best to get in order. On the, may I? Yes. This isn't mine. Sorry. Okay, Your Honor, this is going to be
You can't, I
570.
need you on the record, there's no mic there.
Your Honor, this is going to be 578.
State would stipulate, Your Honor.
Okay, 578's admitted, you can publish.
All right. Is this the picture you sent John just before Corey arrived on August 7th?
I would frequently send him pictures. I don't know if this is the exact one that I sent him or not.
Did you send him 2 pictures that night?
I'm not sure.
All right, may I approach to refresh the witness's recollection? And I'm going to be using 548.
Okay, go ahead.
Ms. McInday, can you tell me what this depicts?
These are text messages,
From what date?
August 7th.
And are you familiar with the universal time code?
Yes,
All right, so when it says 22:37, what time is that?
about 10:37.
10:37 and 57 seconds.
Yes.
All right, and I'm pointing to something. What is that?
Counsel, is that in evidence?
Do you have a step? It is
I'm sorry, what are we, I don't know what we're looking at.
548. This is what I just showed you.
Is that admitted as 548 or is it proposed?
It's not
It's
admitted.
proposed.
I'm asked, that was my question, and apparently it's not admitted. So if you're refreshing recollection, show it to her and have her tell you if her recollection's refreshed. If you're admitting it, we can do that, but
I'm going to approach, I'm sorry, I didn't look at the content, I apologize.
it's okay.
Oh, yeah, okay, Your Honor, the state would stipulate to the admission of defendants 548.
Okay, so 548 is admitted.
All right then, what I showed you, that refresher recollection is to the night of August 7th, 2014.
I still don't remember writing it, but it is something that sounds like something we would write.
Okay. So again, between 10:37 and 57 seconds and 10:40 and 23 seconds, you had you can see that this is a picture being sent,
Yes, an attachment.
an attachment, yes. And John saying, "I needs that," referring to what was in the picture.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
Yes.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
and your statement, "It's all yours."
Yes, that's correct.
If the computer forensics people had taken this file and opened it, and would you dispute it was that picture that I had just shown you previously?
Oh, no.
578?
548, Your Honor.
No, the picture.
Yes. 578.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, 20 minutes before Corey Thomas arrived, you were telling Mr. Copenhaver that your body was all his.
Yes.
Usually the two other extremes that I put in. Okay.
So, Your Honor, this is 549 and 553.
Parties stipulate to the admission, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Were you seeking its admission?
I am seeking its admission, Your
Or
Honor.
they're admitted by stipulation?
I want to take you back to earlier in the day on August 7th. I'm going to show you, can you see these okay? Or do you need me to zoom in?
Oh, I can see it.
Okay. And at, so 13:15 and 43 seconds, that would be 1:15 p.m. and 43 seconds.
Yes.
You received a text from John in sort of law speak that says, "Has HAZ, surprise for Matt."
Yes.
And 20 minutes later, he texted you back, "Doesn't wants."
Yes, that's correct.
And a minute later, about, or 40 seconds, you texted him back, "Does." and then what is?
Yes.
You texted doesn't, so slow.
Yes.
And then you said yeah, no.
Yes.
Okay, in the chaos here, I can't find it right now. But do you recall a discussion at about 5 p.m. that day regarding Victor the snake?
I never had a snake named Victor.
Maybe it wasn't a snake. Do you recall texting Mr. Copenhaver that Victor had bit you?
I believe what you're referring to is a feeder rat.
Okay. You had a feeder rat named Victor.
I don't remember the names of the feeder rats.
But in fact, you were bit by Victor on that date?
If you say so, then yes.
And did you ask, did you tell Mr. Copenhaver must kills?
I'm not sure, but if you say so, then yes.
Let's come back to this when I have my, let's come back to this when I have my ducks in a row.
Okay.
We're gonna break soon.
Tell me when it's a good time.
Actually, right after this will be, I'll be just fine.
Okay.
So we already stipulated to this admission, it's 5:53?
5:53.
5:53, yes, Your Honor.
Okay, it's admitted.
And so, are these texts on August 8th, 2014?
Yes, they are.
And what time were they?
At 12:45.
And I recognize this is in the middle of the conversation. What is I'm sorry, these are going up. So you said to John, nighty?
I believe I meant night. Yes.
Oh, I see. And you said, I love you?
That is in the sent, so I believe he sent that.
Oh, I'm sorry. So he sent that. And you replied back 153?
I believe I meant 143, which is I love you in text code, yes.
Yeah, but you guys also used the, by you guys, I mean you and John also used a lot of, instead of love, loves and things like that.
Yes, we did.
Okay, superfluous S's and
Yes.
such in the lull speak. So that is likely 153 is likely I loves you,
It could be, yes.
and then you said lol.
Oh, he sent LOL.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, you sent 153 and he said LOL,
Yes.
and that's 12:45. And the 911 call was what time?
I'm not sure. It was sometime in the 1 o'clock hour.
Okay. Do you recall it being played yesterday?
Yes, I do.
Do you recall what the timestamp said? Say 1:55?
I don't remember the exact time, but if you say 1:55,
That sounds about right?
yes.
Okay, so these texts were an hour and 10 minutes prior to the 911 call?
That's correct.
Now's a fine time to raise your hand. One second. Sorry.
No, now's fine, I'm ready if the court pleases.
Sure. So we'll go ahead and take our lunch break until 1:30. During this recess, you're admonished not to talk or converse among yourselves or with anyone else on any subject connected with this trial, or to read, watch, or listen to any report of or commentary on the trial, or any person connected with this trial, by any medium of information, including without limitation, newspapers, television, the internet, or radio, or to form or express any opinion on any subject connected with this trial until the case is finally submitted to you. See you back at 1:30.
All rise, close now recess.
John, are we cutting now? What do you think?